And good evening, everyone. Welcome to episode 114. Wow, that's a lot of episodes we've been doing on the NYRB, New York Red Bulls discussion group, the podcast. Garry Redmond here at your service. We'll be hearing for two of my colleagues very shortly. We're going to, of course, very standard show today. We're going to do a quick little recap, of course, the New York Red Bulls and DC United, and go through the heroes and goats of why we should have won, but actually didn't. Of course, next up, of course, our good friend Nick Lianos is going to talk about Philadelphia Union and the New York Red Bulls, and to see if we can able to try and do something we haven't done since 2018, and that is win a game in Chester. Not easy to do, but doable. Of course, we're going to have recaps and updates on New Jersey, New York Gotham FC. They played that Sunday afternoon against Seattle Reign. That's formerly OL Reign, now they're now known as Seattle Reign. And, of course, New York Red Bulls 2, down, of course, at MSU Soccer Park. And, of course, that did not end well. We'll tell you why there. And as I see many of you guys logging in and saying hello, of course, hot takes from the live audience, bold predictions from the three of us, and see if they'd be able to do something in Chester, Pennsylvania. Of course, so get your hot takes ready because we're going to read them as we come along. And, of course, as always, if you missed the live show, which is happening right now, okay, you can catch the recording on our YouTube channel. Don't forget to like and subscribe there. Goals.tv and, of course, Spotify.com. All of our episodes, when this is all done and dusted, they get uploaded the very next day for your watching and, of course, your listening pleasure. And speaking of which, we often say this more than once, but it definitely gains repeating. This is your show, and we want to make this one the best one out there, and this is where you guys come in. So please, tell us how we're doing. We welcome any feedback, left, right, center, good, bad, or different. Please let us know and shoot us an email at rbdgthepodcast@gmail.com. Once again, that's rbdgthepodcast@gmail.com. Well, now, so Saturday was supposed to be a rivalry game. One of our most hated rivals since day one, right? It's DC United. Everything goes out the window. F-bombs, left, right, and wonderful. And they decided to schedule it for Kids Day. I'm going to bring in, of course, two of my colleagues who, of course, didn't attend the game. Of course, is Nicholas Lianos and, of course, the one and only Miguel Nunez. Okay, let me ask you guys this a question, okay? I'm sure you've seen rivalry games in other leagues, okay? And they're usually, and the fan bases are usually heated at each other's throat, yelling, screaming, beer, F-bombs all over the place. But we decided to do Kids Night, which was cute, which was nice. I don't have any problems with that whatsoever. But the thing that kills me is gotten dead in the, I expected vitriol and fire and brimstone, and it was seriously muted. But the atmosphere was definitely there, but it was somewhat muted. Nick, correct me if I'm wrong. Rivalry games are supposed to be spicy affairs, right? Tense, tight, We
were supposed to be coming out firing, and we came out sleeping.
Pretty much like the game itself.
What you're supposed to come out for a rivalry game. Crowd was loud. You were ready. We were ready. Team wasn't.
Wasn't. I mean, it's pretty much self-explanatory. Miguel, as a Gunner supporter, all I have to say to you is three words: North London Derby. Now, I'm sure that gets your blood boiling, and I'm not blaming the Red Bulls for doing something nice for the kids, but on the Derby match.
Well, funny you should say that, Garry, because you know what? My first ever Arsenal game that I went to London in 2003 was the North London Derby. That was
right
at Highbury, okay? Mm-hmm. And forget it. I mean, the amount of police presence and on horses, it was insane, okay? And the away supporters are kept in like a couple of sections over there.
Right, yeah, penned in somewhere. so they don't cause nothing. Now
this was miles away from that, okay? But I will tell you something. In the past, there has been trouble, okay? And I've been there, okay? Either I mean, at home or away, okay? And away was even worse because they're throwing bottles and they're throwing all sorts of crap. I remember one time going down there and we had to leave. They brought us down on the field. So we can
just to avoid those guys.
I forget what year was it, 96 or 97. Through the field and through the tunnel and out. Okay, yeah, because it was going to get ugly, So this is miles away from that. I'm going to say something. I mean, most people already know, but this is hardly that rivalry that it used to be. Okay, it has been replaced by the NYCFC thing. Okay,
and I've said this in a couple of shows back that I humbly say, okay, you got it. I've always referred that particular derby as the OG derby because just like DC United, we were one of the original 10 in Major League Soccer.
Right.
Historically, we were at each other's throats. They won 4 championships. We won 0. Okay, with the Metro Stars and of course,
as a matter of fact, that's when we should have won something because every MLS team sucked. Okay, they might one team might have had one guy like DC United had Diablo Echeverri and that other Jaime Moreno on top.
Oh
okay? We had like a defensive midfielder, Roberto Donadoni, and then several lesser players. Okay,
well, you saying wasn't good enough?
What?
Ramos wasn't good enough. Come on.
No, Donadoni was great, but
I mean, I knew that was coming.
He was no. He was a defensive midfielder when what we needed was a creative midfielder and maybe somebody on top who could bang the goals. And
that guy didn't show up until years later, of course.
But DC had that, okay? And then a few years later, they got like the Rocket, Roy Lassiter. Remember him? And he was banging the goals, and they won several MLS Cup. And then at some point, they had like Aleko Eskandarian, and they won with him as well. We could have had players like that, okay? But we chose to go a different route, okay? And most of the players that we got, that they were thinking were going to be as that, they weren't, okay? But that's when we should have won something because parity, that's the word I'm looking for. Parity ruled MLS at that point.
Still does.
But not so much. Because there's teams that spend and
then there are teams that don't.
Yeah, there are teams that are in it to win it. And there are those that are not. Okay.
See Inter Miami and where they are right now, and then see us and then where we are. I mean, I think the fans are not asking very much, gentlemen. They're basically asking for just a little bit of ambition, okay? Yeah. Something that will get the fans excited and hopeful for at least some silverware, something they will be able to see hopefully when they're alive. but in fairness,
I'm one of those.
Yeah. Well, I'm definitely one of those. We won 3 shields, which in anywhere else in the world there would have been 3 titles underneath our belt. But unfortunately, in Major League Soccer, this is American soccer, and in American soccer, we have playoffs. And this is where, unfortunately, that club historically...
And it doesn't have to be that way, Garry.
Well. No, it doesn't have to be. That's probably the reason why...
It doesn't have to be that way.
No, that's probably the reason why I fight with guys when it comes to Pro Rel. I'm like, not getting Pro Rel in this league. And that's another discussion for another day. When we talk about the game itself, okay, let's get back to that. You talked about, Nick, the team not really being in step. The fans were there. They were jazzed. They were energized. They were ready to go. And then we had someone of an old friend who came in and said, remember me?
There we go.
Yeah. So 6 minutes in, Jared Stroud.
If you're the New York Rebels and you're going up against this DC United team with one natural center back on the field, you've got to play on the front foot and test this back line of DC United.
Oh, this is really good from DC. Jared Stroud. What a moment for him. The former New York minutes in to give DC the lead on the road.
Ayla's going to be pulled out of position here, but watch just Jared Stroud let this ball go across his body and then go by him. It's not a great touch, but because Ayla's in a bad spot defensively, Stroud's a little bit quicker. He reacts much faster, and what a great little inside touch. Miguel with the layoff, and Jared Stroud with his first goal of the year after a career-high 8 assists on the year.
Noah got basically undressed on that play. It was very sad to see, Nick, and it just
I hope it's not right in front of you. So
I mean, it definitely wasn't right. It was in front of me. I mean, just seeing the build up into the scoring just made me felt like, okay, what was that, Noah? What was that?
Noah late, Sean Neal is late to react. There was midfield's late to collapse, and then you walk right in. Here we go.
And also, Gary, I mean, besides the buildup, which was fantastic.
Oh yeah,
you know, that guy Stroud finished better than any or our forwards have this season. Am I wrong? That was an awesome goal. That touch, he just passed it into the. Can any of our forwards do that? Please, once.
We should have had the wake-up call in the second minute when that corner came in, and we left the guy wide open in the back post.
Oh yeah, they had chances and such. But the crazy thing about rivalry games, right? Just when you thought that DC now was on the front foot and everything was going well, there was a whole lot of calamity that happened before this. Okay, we had a red card that came out of nowhere, especially for someone who was warned already. Okay. And he made a very bad tackle in the box, and that, of course, gave the penalty. And up steps up Elias Manuel.
I was just going to say, the last penalty he took, he missed the target. No Forsberg. Big moment here for Manuel.
With Forsberg and Morgan on the bench, it's Manuel against Tyler Miller to level the match, and he does! And he wants to keep going. Rumbles back even 1-1.
On the road, and over the last 90 seconds, it's completely unraveled. Second yellow to Dahomey.
Yep, second yellow to Dahomey. And Dahomey got a red card. Got a yellow card a few minutes before he got a second yellow. Got a red card. Everyone on that DC bench was like, "How?" But that's exactly what happened. I mean, it all started to unravel for DC right at that point, and you figure at that point, Miguel, the momentum would have shifted, right? That, okay, we're back into the game. Now let's take control.
You're all square, playing at home, and the other team has a man less, okay? Come on. It was all there, Gary, all there. Okay?
All there. I mean, Nick, you and I talked about it. It was right there for the taking. Your good teams take advantage of such situations, right? And they grab the team by the throat, right?
Or by the horns.
But then they start making dumb mistakes like fouling people, giving out free kicks. And when that happened, you have a guy named Pedro Santos, who used to give us a lot of fits when he was with Columbus. Here he is again. In DC, of course, just before halftime.
Based on how the first one was officiated, I think Doncor is a little fortunate here.
It was very similar movement from DC to how they scored their goal in the 6th minute with Jared Stroud. Now the set piece, click, and Santos over it. It is Santos! It's brilliant from Pedro Santos in first half stoppage time. DC down a man. A goal, 2-1.
Experienced players to show up. How about this from the left peg of Pedro Santos?
I ain't gonna lie, that's a pretty goal. Any way you look at it, I mean, yeah, it's from a rival. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's from a rival. But good teams don't put stupid fouls in front of your box and leave it to something like that to happen anyway. Left foot and all. But
Gary,
Miguel, go ahead, Miguel.
I'm going to say something here. I don't know if how people are going to take it, but
do it anyway.
The Colonel, Coronel, I think would have saved that. Okay.
I don't know about that.
I don't know about that. I don't know about that. It was such a pretty goal that I don't think anybody can save it.
I don't know.
It wasn't a screamer. Mera gave up too much on that side.
I look like to me Mera was late to react.
Yeah,
but he gave up so much of his left.
Right. I mean,
the wall wasn't set up correctly, and Mera was late to react. But the strike is, you give credit to Santos. The strike was perfect.
No, perfectly placed.
Perfectly placed, right?
In my expert opinion, okay, Coronel stayed.
I mean, well, Coronel wouldn't have given that. Coronel wouldn't have given that gap on the left hand side. I mean, and you're right, Nick. By the time Mera knew the ball was coming, it was too late. He reacted way late and it was by him.
That's why I think it would have been saved, because I don't think he would have given that up. Okay. So there
constructed a wall a little better. I mean, one of the things about Mera, we like him, is just his communication, with guys in front of him. It's not that great, especially in set piece, defending situations, which has somewhat always been a bugaboo. I mean, after halftime, there was an audible boo as the fans trudged off the field, because they expected something better. And for a while, it looked like the home winning streak. Remember, they're one of 3 teams that's still undefeated in Major League Soccer. The other 2 being LA Galaxy and, of course, LAFC was in jeopardy. And it was going to be ended by our most hated rival. Nick, at that point, when you saw, what were you thinking at halftime at that point?
2 things came to mind. How fast does Morgan get on the field? How fast does Forsberg get on the field? That was my first thought. Because this team is dead. There's no midfield link. There's got to be somewhere you're playing Wiki Carmona in a place that he's not comfortable with. And it showed right away. Donker, after a nice game in Montreal, was not ready for this game. A rivalry game, he was just not there. You couldn't. Our forwards I looked at the stats, had 20 passes between them total for the game. That's our starting forwards. And they completed 9. That's not good. No wonder we can't score. This was a pretty poor, pathetic first half showing. And you're up a man.
Yeah. And also, you know what? It didn't help out that we just lost Frankie Amaya to the Mexican team, who was one of our best players this season. And what's his name? Edelman was out with an injury,
and still out, unfortunately.
Yeah, and Forsberg, when's he going to recover? Okay, that's what I'm wondering.
He recovered enough. He came in the second half along with Lewis Morgan. There were halftime substitutions. Okay, and things took a noticeable turn when that happened. Okay, so there was a lot of back and forth. There was a lot of chances here and there, but then there was a man who basically was, really in form in the last few games. His name was Cameron Harper. And in the 78th minute, he did this.
Red Bulls will be patient. Back to Carmona and Harper. Sliding it to Duncan. First time back to Harper! They find their way through at long last. And it's a man in form. A 5th goal in 8 games for Cameron Harper. Level at Red Bull Arena, 2-2.
And then immediately go the other way. But DC United, they've got the players behind the ball. They've got their shape. But there was an urgency by which New York Red Bulls won the ball. Get it wide, played across the goal. He was our RBC player to watch coming into this game. In great form is Cameron Harper.
Cameron Harper was definitely on a roll. Okay, this is his back-to-back. He scored goals in back-to-back games now. So, he's definitely earning that starting position, starting spot, and he's basically rewarding the coach for it so far. So with his performances, Miguel at that point, there was a slight little kerfuffle with the DC United crew. They thought that one of the players were offside. They wanted to see VAR. It was already died down, so the goal was good. And unfortunately, that is how, there was some last chance by either team, but it went no further. And that's how the game ended 2-2. Manuel with a penalty in the 24th. Harper with his goal in the 78th minute. Stroud in the 6th. And of course, Santos, which you saw that pretty curve 4 minutes into stoppage time. Now, Manuel scored his 5th goal of the season. That's his 10th of his career, guys, with New York. The forward has scored in back-to-back matches. It's his first career penalty kick goal. Now, thanks to that draw, New York has extended their home unbeaten streak to 13 matches across all competitions. That's not bad. 13 goals, the 13 matches, which is now tied for the second largest in franchise history. The Red Bulls, of course, have gone unbeaten in their first 10. Count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 matches to begin the season. This is the 5th time in franchise history that a team has had an unbeaten streak 10-plus matches at home in a single season. That happened in 2005, 2012, 2014, Miguel, and in 2016. So this has happened a lot with this crew. And as I said before, New York is one of the 3 teams, that is unbeaten at home this season. The other 2, of course, is LA Galaxy and LAFC. Harper Cameron, that's his 5th goal of the season, 9th of his career. He has scored a goal in back-to-back matches. He's recorded 5 goals in his last 8, Nick.
Yeah.
Last 8. Would you say he's on fire, or would you say he's just warming up?
I say play him at forward, put the other 2 nitwits that are still in the milk carton.
Well, one is no longer on. I mean, he's working his way out. I mean, I don't think he's milk carton status anymore, thankfully. He's got a couple of goals back to back. The one that still is on the milk carton troubles me more than that, more. But Harper didn't get that goal. He got in this, Duncan got an assist on that goal. That's his first assist of the season, 16th of his career. Now, he has tallied 16 assists across all competitions, which is the most by a defender in franchise history. Not bad, okay? Red Bulls are unbeaten the last 8 matches across all competitions against DC United, although this match, and I think we'll all agree, should have been a win. Because when I saw fans walking out the building, there were no smiles. Except for kids who probably went there for the very first time. It was kids night after all. But the adults were not happy. They came in expecting 3 points and didn't get it. With the missing pieces, Miguel, would you say, after you looked at your notes, we got holes on the lineup, we got holes on the bench that need to be taken care of by the folks in the front office, or we're just seeing things?
No. There's holes. There's even an extra hole now that Frankie Amaya is gone. Okay. I mean, please give us something, front office. I'm begging you. Okay. You know what we need? We need that guy. I mean, right now we need a guy to replace Frankie Amaya. We need a forward who can score on a regular basis. We probably need like a better a center back than the ones we have now. At least one guy and a couple of guys out wide. Is that too much to ask?
Yeah, it would have been great if we'd been able to get that before training camp. I mean, to
come on,
to look for these guys now, Nick, is a little too late. Patch up the holes you think you can, and worry about the other stuff later. At least that's what I'm looking at how this is going to roll. I hope I'm wrong. But do you agree with Miguel? The best of the holes that you've seen, wide enough to drive a Mack truck through?
Well, the forward position now is basically bad. Yes, Manuel has scored in the last 2 games, but you get a goal and we don't get nothing else. You can't link up with the forward midfield. You can't link up with the outside wingers. Well, what are we getting from Manuel? That's not good enough. Benzier, I'm about to show him the door. The door will be closing on his way out. And if it hits him, so well be it, because he's been bad. He played good against Toronto. It was good. And you come off that good, nice game again. Yeah, he couldn't shoot a lick, but we got it. He was at least passing and at least winning duels, getting involved in the offense, and then you laid a complete egg. This was a complete disaster.
Right.
You can't follow that up.
That seems to be your pet peeve with him. He's on again, off again, on again, off again. He's consistently inconsistent, and for a guy who's supposed to be the focal point of the offense, if you're not scoring, at least do a lot of the things that don't show up on the score sheet that set you up, set your teams up for wins. And you're not seeing it, right, Nick? You're not seeing it from him.
He did it against Toronto, but he didn't. Then in this game, he was nowhere to be found. I don't even know what he was doing. He looked like he was jogging out in slow motion. And we know he doesn't have the speed to break away from all the defenders. We've seen that too many times this year. He's gotten a couple of chances to clear, and he either couldn't pull the trigger or the defender caught him from behind to stop him from pulling the trigger. So we have to figure out, they have to figure out how to get him going. And Lewis Morgan came on, opened up some space for him. He still didn't do anything, which made no sense. It's not making any sense with why is this guy getting going? You have a guy that can pull defenders out in Morgan, and he's still not delivering.
I want to defend this guy, but I can't. You know my general rule. I can't defend the indefensible. I mean, my question is with everyone now, in the audience. What do you guys think about Van Zier? Should we cut him? Should they cut him, or should they, hold on to him until at least he scores a goal, see if he can able to, get things going? Because it's definitely, from his body language, it's definitely in his head. Someone needs to grab him off the field, sit him down for a bit, and go, all right, you know what? Your head's not in the game, bruh. I mean, but then again, I have to agree with Vincent here. I hate to say it. You can have Henry sitting next to him and he'd still be garbage. I mean, it's definitely a mental thing with him. His body language is telling, and it's very disturbing, guys. I mean, I just don't like what I'm seeing. But somehow pulling the plug before it's all over, I don't think that's I think, especially because of the manpower that you have, especially if this team is not going to bring in a bona fide number 9, then he's all you got. So you either, he hears, you hear the brickbats from the fans, you hear the supporters, you yelling and screaming at him and everything. I think he has it in him, but I don't think he's the type of forward that people think he is. He's a poacher. Okay, he reminds me of those players are clean up aisle 9, Miguel. Ball's loose in the box. That's the last guy you want to see pouncing on it, and that's how he gets his goals. The passes, they got to be right there at a literally on tape to tape to get that shot in, because he's got a great touch to get to get that ball past the goalkeeper back in the net. But your passes better be up there. And lately, other than Forsberg, you ain't got guys that can do that. You don't have guys that can actually make that killer pass when he's making those runs, because he has make those runs when he wants to, and when he does, he's a problem. He's a threat. But people want to see more than that. And you can thank BWP for that, because he has set the bar yay high for this organization. Now they're saying, okay, we don't want Henry. We want somebody who's like BWP. You agree, Miguel?
Yeah, I mean, I take another BWP right now, Gary. I mean, that one season he scored 28 goals during the regular season. I mean,
he was a terror.
Yeah.
Terror.
The only thing I would say about BWP, Gary, but he wasn't the same player in the playoffs. Okay?
No.
He'd do it all in the regular season. And then in the playoffs, it was something else.
That's because you have coaches that learn from getting burned by him. They're saying, you know what? Okay, this is what they do. They send big guys and body them, which was quite effective, okay, especially if he was the lone striker up front. He was on an island. Yeah. And that was the thing that bothered me. So why are we not going with, a pairing that can able to draw off some of that heat from that guy? But, hey, I'm not the coach. But that was the one thing that I had, definitely had a problem with. If you had just one score in basketball, Nick, and if they throw trees after trees at the guy, he's not going to get shots off unless he's exceptional. But if no one is going to be able to take advantage of it and get the ball and shoot, I don't understand. And Lisa definitely have a point because this is something that I did hear from many of the SGs. And bless your wonderful hearts, I love every last one of you. The SGs are rooting for him. If it's in his head, it's something else there. But he does hear. I'm not there on the field, but the SGs are cheering for him. They want him to succeed. They don't want it. They don't want it to end like this with a whimper and not with a bang. No one doesn't really want to see him, to fail, except for maybe some guys in the group. I don't know, but
he's on your team. You want him to succeed. You don't want him to fail. If you
of course not.
Right.
No, you want him to succeed. Nick is right, but what's your options right now? Because you don't have any. Okay,
Right.
Elias,
Corey Burke. It's not Elias.
Burke.
No, it's not Corey Burke. Oh my God!
Who came in with a cup of coffee and then kind of caused some problems running downhill and whatnot, but not much else.
Yeah, I don't know what.
Garry.
Train wreck.
Let me say something that I think today it came out, like the players that have been chosen for the All-Star team and MLS.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, and no Rebels were chosen, which I don't have a problem with.
Good.
Because I'd rather not have any injuries.
That's my response on Twitter.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, because I wouldn't want any injury in some meaningless game, but
right. Have fun with Messi and friends. Go right ahead.
But you have to look at that and say, why weren't any of our players chosen? Okay, and if you look,
wasn't good enough.
Well, there you go, Garry. There you go. Okay,
you would have to put on some all-star appearances and not just in name only.
There you go.
Hence the name All-Star.
Right.
Okay.
Right, Garry.
That's why I said good.
And
we don't need to be there. Take some. You had a terrific. All things considered, right?
Right. Yeah.
We're almost approaching the first half break, as well as our show, by the way. We're almost in the first half break, right? All things considered, if the season ended today, this has been a relatively good surprise, okay? And I say this as a team that basically we had no expectations whatsoever except one, winning the game in front of them. Right, guys? Are they a championship contender? We don't think so. Are these guys going to make far in the playoffs? We don't know. But if you want to compare performances from last season when we were the last squad to make it to the playoffs along with Charlotte, who we dispatched in round one, okay, got rid of them in round one, we're sitting in third place, 6th overall.
It's a great start.
And it's a great start, but what about the finish, right? So, I agree, Nick. Nice, great. It's something that makes you want to go out and wear your gear with some semblance of pride, right? So, not bad, right? In the beginning, Miguel, we had, over lunch, we talked about just how far this squad was willing to go, and what did we say? We don't know. We had no idea. We don't know. But the simple fact that now in third place, 6th overall, you impressed or what are you saying right now? What are you saying, honestly?
Well, I'm saying that please, Mr. Schwartz, keep us right up there in those places. And then maybe at some point, the front office will see fit to bring some actual talented players to complement Forsberg and
anybody you bring in is going to take a while to get them up to speed. You know that, right?
Yeah, but bring them in sooner rather than later, and then they'll be up to date for the playoffs, Garry. Okay, that's my thought, and maybe we can fight for maybe not the top, but maybe the second place in the East, and maybe we get a bye. Okay, and then maybe we get home field advantage. That's the only.
I think Nick is saying we're pushing it.
Columbus and Cincinnati are.
I mean, the only thing that concerns me before we go into the break, the only thing that concerns me is that the teams that we have been facing so far are going to be easily the teams we're going to be facing in the playoffs. Have you taken a look at what behind us right now? So, there's a reason why we need to pad as much points as possible, because when it comes down to the stretch run, it's going to get rough. And one of the places that we have a rough time at is in Chester, where will be our next episode, which I will do personally. And then after the break, Nick Lianos is going to break down the Philadelphia Union. Why every time we lose to these guys, we lose our minds. But first, final scores of week 23 of Major League Soccer. See you back here in 30 seconds. Okay, Philadelphia Union. We know these guys. These are one of the teams that, well, unfortunately, we don't like. And for all intents and purposes, we all know why. In the last 5 games, the Red Bulls have faced them, other than a draw, every last loss. On the road, and this is where before Nick comes in, the last win in Chester was back in 2018, and it was Kaku with the lone goal that gave us a 1-0 win. Nick, this is where you come in and you try to school everybody just how far they've fallen. I mean, this was supposed to be a team on the rise, right? What happened since then?
Well, we always said Philadelphia copied us. They built the academy, they built everything, they copied our style, and they copied one thing else: their lack of investing in their team. They haven't done so, and it's caught up to them. This year, no Andre Blake, only for just exceptional 4 games. Leon Flack has only played 10 games for them. Gazek's gone away for international duty. Urhel's gone away for international duty. Jose Martinez has gone away for international duty. The youngsters have had a good season last year, held up with a pretty poor season this year. Donovan's been bad. McGlynn's been okay. Sullivan has been eh. And the best player just got up and left. PSV took a Julian Carranza, got up, goes, I'm out of here. He took $12 million and he's gone off to Holland to play over there. And compound that, you have older aging players in Bedoya, Lessons, Martinez, and Elliott, who have shown age. And they just have bottomed out. Their own fans have screamed at them 2 weeks ago, sell the team. They try to coach.
Suddenly the Red Bull fans they're like Red Bull fans now.
They were screaming after a 2-0 loss to Charlotte. Sell the team and it was a loud 20-minute thing in the whole second half. They haven't closed out games. They've been in close, tight games, like last week in Montreal. They were in the 2-2 games. They lost the game in the 89th minute. Yeah, they were more to make it a 4-2 loss. They've been losing games that they normally come away with points in. They haven't won since May. That tells you how bad this is. May. They started off with 3 wins in their first 6 games, and they have 1 win since. This is a team that's fallen off. And the coach is on a hot seat. The front office is on a hot seat from the fans. And it couldn't happen to a bunch of better teams.
The simple fact that they're struggling is bringing a smile to your face. I mean,
I have family down there that lives outside of Philly. So they have a small little pizzeria like nearby the stadium. And a couple of people are like, you guys rebels stink. I'm like, dude, relax. It's coming. Just wait. I've been waiting, and I showed up like 2 weeks ago when we were before DC. This guy goes, I remember you're the Rebel fan. I'm like, yeah, how's your season going? And he went, oh, thank you. Go away.
Uh,
Go away.
I mean,
Listen, they
yeah,
tied our number for God knows how long. The League Cup, they beat us. They beat us in the playoffs, and that and miraculous goal.
got a supporter shield. They finished. I mean, at that point, Miguel, this team was on the rise. It was like, here's another squad that's going to win another cup before us, right?
oh yeah, they
And
had. Go ahead.
yeah, and then, like Nick said, it just nosedive shortly right after that. I mean, it seems that they have reached their apex and went no further. Surely we're not in a position to feel sorry for these guys because they hardly feel sorry for us. But
No,
are
I don't
you
feel sorry
just?
for them.
I mean, are you just as surprised that the level that they're taking with Philadelphia because they were built to win, and then they didn't build after that. Something that you told me last month. I mean, this is a crew that, for some reason, they don't have a hard time getting up against the Red Bulls. They consider, although the fans don't consider them rivals, in true sense. We hear this all the time, but
It's truly unraveled for them since the Pachuca game. If you look at it, they got schooled in CONCACAF League Cup since that 6-0 disaster.
oh yeah.
They're
That made headlines, Miguel.
Yeah.
That 6-0 loss against Pachuca, that made headlines. I mean, like,
That was before our league started, basically. So they played Austin. They had a draw. They won in Portland, and then they beat Minnesota and beat Nashville.
Yeah, I mean,
One win,
that's
one win.
that-
New England.
that loss is, I'll equate that to the Philadelphia Union not really being in form at that time. Okay,
it was preseason. That's true.
yeah, it's like a preseason, and that's another issue with.
No, they were leaking goals that first game too against their Deportivo.
Yeah, yeah. So then, I mean, this is a team that's been really good in recent years. They went to several like U.S. Open Cup finals, man. Okay, they won the Supporters Shield once.
Mm-hmm.
They were seconds away from winning MLS Cup. Okay, God bless. What's that guy?
Bale.
Bale. God bless Gareth Bale.
Bale.
Okay?
Gareth Bale.
And I say that
the guy,
yeah,
guy LAFC brought in to do just that,
Yeah,
and
well
we've never
worth-
heard right. Well worth it, right?
well worth every penny they paid for that.
The man that got the
Okay.
goal that got him the first cup, and we've been hearing it from Red Bull fans ever since. See, they got a big name, they got a home run hitter, they got him a cup. Why can't we do that?
Right,
I don't know.
Yeah,
would've
but
got
now they find themselves in this situation, and I think Nick did a great job of surmising everything. There's a lot of guys.
He did
that are
more than that. He
old.
schooled everybody.
Yeah, they lost several great players. And
Julian Carranza is gonna hurt.
Yeah, correct.
Okay, you know the name I don't hear. Miguel Gazdag. Remember him?
Oh yeah,
Okay.
guys, that's right.
Just like Gazdag. Okay, Miguel Ure. That's another guy I don't hear lately. Where the hell is he? Those two were slicing and dicing the Red Bulls to death. Okay, in the midfield and up front. I don't hear about those boys.
Gazdag has 6 goals on the season, but he went away he just came back. He was with the Euro team. He was with the Euro team. But he was having a decent team. What, you just lost 11 goals in Gazdag leaving. He took 11 goals.
And I'm going to say something. Oh yeah, because
and Carranza, he had double digit. No, wait. Yeah, Carranza, he just left with what 10 goals with him. Took his 10 goals with him.
Well, yep.
Yeah. Okay. And if you look at the at Vincent's comment right here, it's like there's no better team to jumpstart the season. It's playing the New York
see
Rebels.
what happened in Philly.
Playing the Rebels. You play the Rebels.
The hell with you, Escobar.
You play the Rebels. You jumpstart your season. And you get several results, and all of a sudden you're right back in it. How many times have I seen that happen?
It's happened. I mean, I can't deny that but remember what I said about Philly, right? They could be dead in the water. Then we go down there, play them a couple of times. Next thing you know, they're right back in it. Okay.
Right,
Oh, it's
yeah.
the Red Bulls. We know how to we know how to house these dudes at our place. Remember, we have the Red Bulls have not won a game down there. Okay, since October 21st, 2018. It's been a while. Okay, it's been a while. Do I think this squad has a chance? Well, yeah. I mean, even a snowball has a chance in a blast furnace for about 3 seconds before it turns into liquid. But one of the things that has to happen against a team like this on the road, where you historically have issues with. I mean, we said this about Montreal, right, Nick? Go up to Montreal was, Stade Saputo, House of Horrors, right? And we ain't won there in 2 years. in 2 years. Went up there, had a first half that we won't talk about the first half. And what do? We come back, and walk out of there 2-2. Draw on the road, especially when you fought back down 0-2 and get, is a good one. Here in Philadelphia, here in Chester, they bury you out there if you make those same mistakes. So, Miguel, you head coach. You talking to your boys. What are you telling these guys before they even step on the pitch against Philly? Don't lose.
I'm telling them, this is what I'm telling them, Gary. Park the bus Chelsea style, okay? And hit him on the counter, okay? That's what I'm telling them.
Teams that
don't give it. You can't.
What's that?
They're playing in Chicago on Wednesday.
Okay.
So we might have a slight advantage with them be tired, and they're also depending now on an 18-year-old goalkeeper to be their backstop. They put up their own.
Right, no Blake.
No Blake.
They had to throw him some money because he was beefing.
Yeah,
he wanted out. Last I checked, he wanted out of there. They had to give him some extra money. So, stick around. We're going to build around you. They had to promise him something.
They had a young kid playing now. Andrew Rick, who's on his fourth game when he plays us. That's who
fourth game.
That's who they're turning to now to spark life into this team. They're begging for. They need a spark in the worst way. You got to kick them when they're down. They are down. If we're coming in there, you got to kick this. Don't give them any life. Kick them.
So Nick, you're predicting a glorious victory then.
I'm predicting from now. I'm gonna go with 2-1 win. Yeah, actually, I'm
2-1 a victory.
I'm actually
2-1.
I think that Philly is. I think Philly is searching for it, and when they're searching for it, yes, we're the rival that they're gonna need to spark them, but they're also missing talent. And
let's talk about Nick. Let's talk about that because you did. I've actually do an in-depth, a look on Philadelphia unit, of the Union in comparison to the Red Bulls. What do you see that might give the fans some hope? But on the other side of that coin, what do you see that might give the Red Bulls trouble?
Listen, their back line is still the same as it's always been. Glessens, Elliott is still there. They're still good, but they're old. They've slowed down. Bedoya is not the same player he was, and he's their quote unquote linchpin. The guy that's
he's like 40 years old now. That guy.
The other guy that's the instigator on the team, Martinez, he's not there. He's with Venezuela, so there's a big gap that they're missing. He's always that fighter guy. He's the old Felipe Martins. Felipe get into people's face, start the trouble, get people distracted, get them off their game. Here's what he does and makes them. They lost their best goal scorer. Gazdag is good, but he's played. He's got to get him back up to speed here after he was in the Euro in Germany.
I get this disturbing feeling we're going to see him on the score sheet in Chester on Saturday. Where I'll be there live and in person. This guy's always got a habit of showing up.
Fuck is the other guy that's been missing for them, and he's always been a linchpin for them too. And he's only got 10 games on the season out of the 20. So you're looking at guys that are missing, old, and slow. If this doesn't tell you, hey man, we are the kids of the group. Our kids got to wake up and you need to bounce. And we've shown that this year. We've played bad. When we've played bad, we come back with a better game. And it's always on the road. and it's always on the road. We've come back better on the road than we do at home. Than we do.
They seem to play better on the road than they do at home. Something we brought up, of course, in in many of the press game. The media availability. Excuse me, with the coach, and we wanted to know why that is, and because of their. He said there was no big difference in between the two. We'll see when we go down. Going down to Chester. Miguel, your thoughts?
After Nick's brilliant analysis, I'm going to predict a 1-0 loss. Those are my thoughts. Thank you very much.
Another loss in Chester. Another loss in Chester.
I mean, come on. It doesn't get easier than that. Go ahead.
Okay.
What about you, Gary? What are you predicting? Huh?
I'm predicting a draw, either 2-2 or 1-1, and I'll tell you why.
Okay.
This team, looking at the Union in the last couple of games, this team has a habit of, this team, one of the reasons why they're struggling, scoring. Okay? And now that hill just got a little deeper. Now the Carranza has exit stage right. Okay? Where those goals are going to come from. I don't doubt for a second that they're going to score those goals. Okay? I don't doubt for a second they will. But like Nick said, their midfield, older, slower, which means the one thing that they have left in their game, guys, physicality. There's some big boys in the midfield. There's some big boys in the defense there. And they will put body. They're going to put a body or two on guys like Van Zier and, Manuel. They need to be quick. They need to be decisive. They need to be on point. Those are the three things that one of those three things don't usually you'll see them in their game, but they, but let's put it this way. What I want to see and what the fans should be seeing is a lot of fight because Philly is going to bring it. Okay. No doubt. I've said this many times. Out of all the teams they face, they got no trouble getting up for the Red Bulls. They don't. They don't have any trouble, for any of the New York teams. Red Bulls especially. Okay. They want to remind them that they're still the big dog. They're one of the big dogs. And goodness gracious, if we ever met them in a playoff match at Red Bull Arena, that'll be some fun. But I'm expecting a draw. I really am. Here's what I'm hoping to see, though. I'm hoping to see Van Zier finally get his. He hasn't been seen or heard of since Miami. I know Miguel, he probably is, I know most of the guys are saying, hey, Garry, stop hoping he's a waste, but I'm not ready to give up on this guy. I mean, something tells me he's going to pop off. And while I don't think he's going to go on a scoring streak, he's going to get his. So we keep seeing for the last couple of matches, if this is the time for him to literally step up and get on the score sheet, this is it. Because pretty soon it's time when he's staring at the bench right now. Okay, so right. I'm thinking that he looks inside of himself, and says, "Look, damn it, I'm a DP. I need to bag some goals. Do whatever you got to do to get in the box. If you got to fall down on the way in and get back up and try to get be as desperate as you can, but." Get some, okay? That's all I'm asking.
Right,
and
Garry, regarding Van Zier, even up to a few weeks ago, if you would have asked me, like the pecking order, it would have been Van Zier, Elias Manuel, and Corey Burke. But I think Emmanuel has moved above him, above Van Zier, right? And he's the DP. Emmanuel is not,
Let's understand something here, okay? Manuel understands his role. He's basically secondary in as far as, he's not the tip of the sword, nor will he be. But you're looking for a combination that can work together. And so far, you haven't seen it is because, when the last time he was mobile, hostile, and lethal is when you had Morgan and Van Zier up top. They played well against one another because Morgan would basically draw all that firepower from defense, leaving Van Zier all alone with a nice deft pass, and he'll be able to bang him in. Since then, other players have not fit his style. I mean, like footprints, and that's the major problem with it. But when you're a DP, you should be professional enough to score no matter who is standing next to you. And so I wouldn't look that he doesn't strike me as basically the guy with excuses. He understands, okay, pressure's on him. He understands the fans want him to score. He does, he does get a lot of cheers from from the supporters group, which is nice. Gives him a little bit of encouragement. But I always feel that the coach should give him a little backside encouragement, kick in the can and go, yo, dude, come on. You can't be doing that. Okay. So, let's get in the game and see what, it's not like he's not healthy. He is. He's about as healthy as he has been since his injury-prone, season last year. Remember, he came off a back injury when he landed square, in the Satica.
Yeah.
That ain't cool. I mean, I got news for you. That will affect you. Okay, and he had to sit out the rest of the season. So we'll see how that goes. They'll go down to Philadelphia. Meanwhile, Gotham FC and Seattle Reign, they got together in an afternoon tilt at Red Bull Arena, and for the most part, started pretty well. Rose Lavelle got hers. Okay, she got scored a goal in the 47th minute, but somehow Seattle was able to get the equalizer 9 minutes into stoppage time, guys, thanks to an own goal by Neely Martin. The ball bounced off her 9 minutes into stoppage time, and the game ended in a 1-1 draw. Okay, so they able to share the points. Next match for Gotham FC, they got to go all the way to the left coast against Angel City FC at BMO Stadium in Los Angeles. Kickoff is scheduled for 10 o'clock p.m., and the match is to be televised or streamed on Ion TV. You can go to iontv.tv and able to watch the match live. And as always, you can always watch the match on NWSLplus.com. So you can able to check that for free. All you gotta do is just put in your name and everything else. It didn't cost you no money or anything else, and you can able to watch your women footy. What's going on with New York Red Bulls too? Can somebody explain? I mean, if Mark was here, he would probably explain.
If Mark were here, exactly.
Yeah, if Mark was here, he can actually explain that, because I don't get this team. Just when they were doing quite well, then they stepped themselves in it. I don't understand these guys. So Columbus Crew 2, their squad is always given this, this guy, this team fits. Okay. Whoops. Okay. And so it happened once again. Columbus Crew 2-3, New York Red Bulls 2-1. The Columbus jumped right in front with a 2-goal lead with Brent Adugayamasi's goal in the 44th minute. Gibran Reyes tallying 58th. Now, there was a bright spot to all this, of course. Tanner Roseburg got his first goal of his pro career in the 66th minute. That was before Diego Almeida converted a penalty 9 minutes into stoppage time to seal the win for New York, for the Columbus Crew 2. Their next game, they got a home stand, okay? Their next game is on Sunday against the Atlanta United 2 at MSU Soccer Park. Kickoff is to be scheduled for at 5 p.m. Match, of course, not to be told. All the games for MLS, unless it's specified on their YouTube channel. Most of the games, of course, on Apple TV. So, before we move on, let's talk about, of course, game balls for the game for New York Red Bulls versus DC United. Nick, you up first. Who's your game ball going to?
Dylan. Dylan was the most consistent player on the team. Came inches away from scoring for his first MLS goal. I'll give it to Dylan. He was good on defense. Very solid game.
Remember how people got so mad about him and got so mad with him, but now he's really turned things around. He's really becoming to be a steady player, which is kind of encouraging. I mean, ever since he got would you say the contract extension that he got was deserved?
It shows now, yeah.
So now,
We kept him. He was a good utility guy to have to play 3 different positions. I didn't mind the signing because he showed something in each position, and Sandro's brought the best out of him.
so Sandro is the key as far as the players. Some of the players have definitely have made improvements. Miguel, you mentioned how impressed you were with him, and on this game basis for DC United versus New York, who's your game ball going to?
Oh, it's got to be Cam Harper for the tying goal. Okay, and talk about a player who has turned it around. You know, when I first saw that guy, Harper, it was like a Red Bull 2 game, like right after the first team played. Okay, and me and about 50 other people stayed to watch, and he looked awful. Okay. But he's looking really good now. He's looking like a really good signing right about now. And, you know, may his development continue. Okay.
I want him to retire as a Red Bull, to be honest with you. It's just, I mean, I wish, they get into the habit of, identify some of these players to build around and keep them around for a while. Before we go, there's a huge game going on. As a matter of fact, it's kicking off as we speak. The United States men's national team versus Uruguay. Right, okay. After the 2-1 loss to Panama on Thursday night in Atlanta, the U.S. men's national team captain Christian Pulisic was asked how would he accept the challenge of facing Uruguay on Monday with his team Copa America hopes in the balance. Just we accept any challenge, he said. We have to go out and represent our country with passion and pride. We have to go out and play our best game of our lives, and that's it. Well, in order for them to move to the next round, Uruguay you have to beat them somehow, some way. You literally have to beat them, okay? And, of course, you have to have a little bit of hope. If you're wondering when was the last time they met each other, the men's national team in Uruguay have met 8 times, guys, in the past, splitting those games evenly at 2 wins apiece against 4 draws. Now, this is their second meeting at Copa America. The first one is coming off a 1-0 win for Uruguay back in the 1993 group stage. And Uruguay, as we all know, other than Argentina and Brazil in that region, Uruguay is one of the most successful teams in the world. They've won 19 FIFA official titles. They got 2 World Cups, as you know, 2 Olympic game championships, and 15 Copa America championships. Oh boy. So,
that's not bad for a nation of 3 million. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, oh boy. I mean, you talk about a tall, order. Now, how did the United States get to the next round? Well, this was a win would basically secure passage to the next round for the U.S., okay? Though the 3 points alone is not going to be enough. Now, the good news is that the U.S. has a 2-goal advantage over Panama in goal differential, which is the first tiebreaker in the tournament. So if Panama, which is playing Bolivia right now, beats Bolivia, the U.S. not only needs to beat Uruguay, they need to do so while protecting that 2-goal advantage. In other words, if they score 1 goal and if Panama scores 4, they're out. Okay, simply put. The U.S. will also have to advance the knockout stage with a draw. They can, with a draw. If Panama and Bolivia to also draw, or if Bolivia, which is a very small chance that's going to happen, knock out Panama and fails to close a substantial goal differential gap with the U.S. The U.S. currently sits at +1, while Bolivia sits at -7. So that's basically where it stands right now. The game is happening right now on Fox. All eyes are naturally going to be watching on that game to see if they're able to move on or join Mexico into that long walk of shame. And Canada was already advanced and out of the group and into the semifinals. This is going to be fun. So, Miguel, U.S. got a chance or no?
No. I would be surprised if they beat Uruguay, and even if they did, I would be surprised if they went through.
Well,
to the
remember, they
next
don't necessarily have to beat Uruguay. They can tie and just hope that, Panama don't score, more than two
No.
goals.
I have less hope of that happening, okay? Because
Okay.
Bolivia's not good at all, okay? So I'm thinking Panama's going to put several past them.
Bolivia's not good at all.
Yeah.
Panama, you don't know what you're going to get from them. And U.S., I don't think it matters, though. Even if the U.S. wins or loses tonight, if they don't lose, they're not firing Berhalter. It doesn't matter at this point. I
don't think they're going to fire over this. No. They're not going to fire him over this.
This is either way. Do they look bad that they face planted? Yeah, but I also look bad at the players who pretty much have the supposedly golden generation have not taken the next step.
Yeah. Also,
can we finally look at it that the players haven't been that great?
All right.
Okay, that's debatable.
Yeah.
Honestly, that's really and I mean, there's no reason why I would disagree with that. They were expected to be, you're the host of this tournament. They expected to do a good showing, and so far you haven't done it. I mean, other than that ridiculous red card that you received, but it that's the most notable exception. But if they're going to be able to make a statement, tonight is it. Now, of course, we're all going to be watching this game when it's all said and done. But that's what's at stake. You're going to be able to watch the match. Basically, you will watch the match right now as the speak is going on. If on Fox, we will hear what happened or don't when it's all said and done. But we're not expecting much.
You're going to have to
also
again.
Go ahead, Miguel.
No, go ahead, Nick. You were saying.
This is Uruguay's A team. Even though that means nothing to them, this is Uruguay's A team. So you're going to have to prove it. They're not taking this game.
They always want to win Copa America. Always.
They're not taking
like I said,
they're not taking look, you got to prove it tonight.
As I said, outside of Brazil and Argentina in that region, Uruguay is one of the top dogs.
Right. Yeah, but also Garry and Nick, I have to say that this tournament, right, as if you were to take this as a what's the word, a precursor to the World Cup, okay? I gotta say that it's failed miserably because the state of the fields are just such garbage, man. Even I remember going to Giant Stadium for the 1994 World Cup. I saw several games there. Okay, and they had they had this tray system that was
remember
but it was an immaculate pitch. Okay, for this tournament, they're putting sand and then sod on top of that.
That's not a good combo. That's never a good combo.
Dress rehearsal is what I was trying to get at. Go ahead.
Yeah, that's never a good combo. I mean,
they said it. They said because they did not do what they originally were suggesting to do. They just put it on top of it. But in 2 years, Dallas, Giant Stadium, and was the next one? SoFi and the one in San Fran.
SoFi is too narrow. There's no way they're going to get 110. 110 yards.
70,
Giant Stadium, MetLife Stadium is going to remodel. They're going to expand it. They're taking out 4,000 seats.
Well,
because Giant Stadium was wide.
Wide, right.
Giant Stadium was only 70 yards wide.
Right.
And the FIFA mandate, it was like 75 wide, but they let him play there anyway. Right. I don't know what the dimensions at MetLife are going to be.
It's short right now, but they're taking out 4,000 seats.
Okay.
Yeah.
Bigger.
Yeah. I mean, the stadium, believe it or not, the stadium was built with soccer in mind, and they can able to put a wider field once they take out maybe one or two rows. That's about it. Definitely in the corners because that's where it tapers off. But so it's doable. That's probably the reason why they chose that stadium over SoFi, because everybody thought that either SoFi or Cowboy Stadium was going to host the final until they talked to the folks over at MetLife. Said, yeah, we could do that. If we're going to take out a few rows, so be it. I mean, and they'll do it. I mean, they'll have to put those rows back for football season, but it can be done. So you're saying, okay, so let's recap so Nick, you're saying it's a win.
I'm going
You're
2-1.
saying
2-1.
2-1. Miguel, you're saying it's a loss, a 1-0 loss. I'm saying it's a draw, either 1-1 or 2-2. I'm going to choose 1-1 based on the goals that we're worried about where they're going to come from. And
one of us is going to win, Gary. One of us is going to win. All right.
Well, I'm back in the last place. I just noticed. I'm wondering how in the world did I got there. Even with my one win was not enough, to get me through and stuff like that. So we know where that comes in. So that's it for now for this week, boys and girls. Philadelphia Union, 7:30 at Chester, of course, on Apple TV. I will be there live. I hope to run into some of you guys, of course, from the supporters section. Be loud, kids, because it sounds like it's going to be a fun night of Philly, because I don't get these guys. Why did they put rival supporters groups right next to the, literally right next to them? That's asking for trouble. But the security people, they do a great job of keeping these guys separated, that long, thin line. We'll see what happens from there. So,
enjoy, Gary. I'm not going either.
But I gotta be there. No, I gotta do my job down there. As always remember that if you missed the live show, you can also catch, of course, the replay on our YouTube channel. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Of course, Spotify.com and, of course, Goals.tv. All of our new episodes will be uploaded the very next day. If you have any questions, comments, and suggestions and stuff like that, drop us a line. Of course, let us know how we've done. Of course, on our email address at rbdgthepodcast@gmail.com. So, next week, Lonray makes his return, we hope. And, of course, we have Mark Coates. Until then, for Nick Lianos, once again, coming off the bench and doing a masterful job, filling in, of course, for Carlos Cano, and, of course, the always affable Miguel Nunez. I'm Garry Redmond. Thank you guys so much for joining us this evening. We will see you next week. Until then, good night and goodbye for now.